Hi, what's up, y'all? It's poppin'. It's D. About to react to this video by Chronicle Speaks. This is regarding the whole Diddy and Cassie situation. I saw a couple details about this lawsuit, not too many, but yeah, we're gonna get all of the tea. I like reacting to her specifically over some of the other bloggers because she gives very specific details about a lot of these situations, whereas a lot of other bloggers will just, flood the video with their own personal opinions, and it's like, and their opinions be wild. Like, girl, I didn't come for this. So no shade to the other people because I like reacting to them too sometimes, but in a situation like this, I need all the tea, okay? I want to hear everything. So that is what she's going to provide in this video, I'm sure, based on her track record. So yeah, let's see what she has to say about this case. Let's watch.
Get back into it. In 2022, Mr. Combs received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards. During his acceptance speech, Mr. Combs stated, "I have to give a special shout out, thank you, love, to the people that were really there for me." He named a number of people before adding, "and also Cassie, for holding me down in the dark times. Love." The truth is, however, is that Cassie, Miss Cassandra Ventura, was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his violent behavior and disturbed demands. For Miss Ventura, the dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking. Among other violent and unlawful acts, Mr. Combs raped Miss Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him, often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Miss Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, black eyes, and bleeding. Blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Miss Ventura. Forced Miss Ventura to engage in sex acts with male sex workers while masturbating and filming the encounters. Ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rivalry industry executive whom he learned was nearby. Demanded Miss Ventura to carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is, and introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse, and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addiction. So I am going to give you cliff notes because there's no way in the world this is going to read 35 pages to you guys tonight. So it starts with an introduction of Cassie and Diddy meeting in 2005 when she was 19 and Diddy was 37 years old. He lured her into a fast drug-fueled lifestyle, and he was almost 2 decades her senior. Now he wanted complete control over her personal life while providing her all the avenues of success as an inspiring artist, but in giving
I didn't know she was that young, and he was 37.
her that, he demanded obedience, loyalty, and silence during their relationship. Now she said Diddy would go into these violent rages when he would beat her savagely. Now his staff and employees witnessed this, but with him being Diddy, no one really spoke up on her behalf. After the abuse, he hid her and showered her with gifts, which is typical for a serial abuser. Now Diddy constantly reminded her that he could do harm to her by requiring her to carry a gun in her purse, or by him blowing up the car of a musician that was romantically interested in her. He was abusive sexually, physically, and often made her have unwanted sex with male sex workers. She tried to leave him over and over, but he had a tight hold over her life. She tried to hide from him, but he had networks and affiliations of so many different people, but they would only return her right back to him. Now, there was a time that she thought she had escaped Diddy for good, but she ended up having dinner with him at her home, and he sexually assaulted her over and over, and she constantly told him no. Now that everything is done and she's completely gone, the abuse is still haunting her. She needs intensive medical care as well as psychological care. And Cassie wants justice for the decade of her life that she can never get back, that she had to deal with threats of violence, excessive use of drugs, physical and psychological abuse, as well as sexual slavery. Now, according to Ms. Ventura, she brings this action seeking injunctive, declaratory, and monetary relief against defendants in violation of federal sex trafficking laws. Now, Cassie signed a 10-year record deal with Bad Boys in 2006 after Diddy heard her single in a club. Now, Cassie was very naive, so Diddy positioned himself as a father figure in her life.
I feel like he did that on purpose, too. He probably specifically, sabotaged her career just because he wanted to keep her to himself and keep her, in this chokehold. Because if he helped elevate her career and she became more successful, she would have had a bit more independence. So he did that shit on purpose.
But he became too controlling. Now 2 years go by and Diddy is with Kim Porter and Cassie has her own relationship. But Diddy decided to pursue her anyway. At her 21st birthday party, Diddy pulled Cassie into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her. She ran out of the bathroom and the hotel suite crying. Now, in 2007, he asked to take her out. Now, she couldn't say no because she was afraid of losing her record deal. She said yes, and he picked her up, but he was already inebriated. Now, when he picked her up, he gave her a blue pill. She did not want to take it, and she asked, "Hey, what is this?" He said, "You'd like it." Now, she later found out it was ecstasy. That was the first time she had ever gotten high. Time had went by, and he kept giving her drugs she did not want to take, but she refused in fear of no longer being able to please him and losing her record deal. Next thing she knew, she was in a full-on relationship with Diddy. He spent money on cars, apartments, clothing, everything she wanted, she had. Now, Diddy bought apartments right down the street from the homes that he was at. He bought an apartment in Los Angeles as well as New York, but this was so he could control her. He introduced her to a drug-filled lifestyle that kept her complacent and compliant. Diddy was on pain pills that were prescribed by a doctor, but when he ran out, he demanded that she go and procure more from a doctor in her own name. She didn't really want to. Now, Diddy wanted access to everything, her day-to-day activities, her travel, and even her medical records were emailed to him. Now, there was a time she started experiencing memory loss, which was more than likely due to the drugs and the head injuries caused by him beating her. She went to the doctor and had an MRI, and the MRI was even sent to him. He asked what she called her grandfather, and she replied, "Pop Pop." So Diddy wanted her to refer to him as that nickname,
Ew,
Pop Pop.
that's disgusting.
Then there's a time that Diddy became enraged. They were doing drugs at his home, and one of his security came to the room and said that Suge Knight was down the street at Mel's Drive-In. Diddy ran into the safe and got multiple guns and ran out of his home where he thought Suge was. And we all see that little run out the house didn't take him nowhere, now did it? Now, over the decade of their time spent together, he would violently abuse her, leaving bruises on her body and leaving her in hotel for days where she would have to heal up. Now, he kicked and beat her so violently one time after a Jay-Z party that he ended up kicking her out of the car, leaving her to hail a cab back home. Now, in 2009, she was speaking to a music manager about helping her grow her career, and Diddy became enraged and once again got in his car and began stomping her in the face. Once the car stopped at Diddy's residence, Cassie tried to run away, but Diddy caught up to her and continued to kick her in the face. He realized how bad he had beat her and got her to a hotel in LA where she could heal. She recognized that she was powerless and this man had a team that bowed down to him and no one would tell him that he was doing wrong. She then became numb to the abuse after a while and became beholding and blindly followed his instructions in fear of another vicious beating. He often referred to their relationship as a Bobby and Whitney type of relationship, and he also told her that his fantasy was to see her with another penis. He invited a male sex worker into the home, and they all took drugs, and they wore masquerade masks. He made her perform sexual acts on this man, and Diddy watched and masturbated and directed the acts that they would do next. Now, this one encounter lasted multiple days, and Diddy referred to this arrangement as a freak-off or an FO. So whenever he wanted one, he'd tell Cassie that he wanted an FO, and she had to facilitate finding the sex worker and also finding the location. Now, sometimes Diddy would want these events to happen weekly. Now, Cassie was instructed to go on websites and different escort services to find these men, and Diddy instructed her to find ones with big black penises. Now, during these occasions, Cassie was given cocaine, ecstasy, ketamine, marijuana, alcohol, and it actually helped her to disassociate herself during these horrid encounters. Now, he would record these acts on his phone and his laptop, and she would go behind him and delete them and thought that she was done. She'd never have to watch him, never have to see him, but this showed her just how powerless she was. Diddy actually made her watch one of the videos that she thought she deleted while on a plane ride home, and it just showed her that she definitely did not have any power in the situation. Now, sometimes Diddy would beat her in front of these sex workers, and she actually allowed it because she was living in fear of him. He also showered her with gifts in front of these sex workers. Now, in 2015, during her 29th birthday, she was having a birthday dinner, and Diddy asked her to leave and have an FO. She said no, she didn't want to do it. She was courted by not only him, but his security as well, and forced out of the building and taken to the hotel where she did have to perform sexual acts with the male sex worker. She came back high. Diddy was high. Diddy ended up seeing one of her friends at a hotel and picked the friend up like a baby and dangled her over the hotel balcony, scaring her friends, but she was too inebriated to even say anything to him. Now, there were also moments in the relationship where she would try to leave, but then his network of friends and associates would only bring her back. Now, in 2011, during a break in their relationship, she started dating Kid Cudi for a brief moment. Now, Diddy was out of town and he asked her to come back for an FO, and because she was afraid of him, she decided to do it. Now, during that time, Diddy started going through her phone and he found her emails, and she had emails with Kid Cudi. Child, he got upset, he picked up a corkscrew, and he lunged towards her. Now, in fear, she left and she went to Kid Cudi's house. Diddy's team contacted her and was like, look, you need to go back and talk to Diddy. He's going through, see what's wrong with him. Now, in fear that he was going to do something to Kid Cudi, she went back, and when she got back, Diddy beat the brakes off of her again. In 2012, during Fashion Week, Diddy contacted her and was like, look, I'm going to blow up Kid Cudi's car, and I want to do it while his friends and family are there. Next thing you know, Kid Cudi's car ended up getting blown up. Now, in 2015, Cassie was filming this movie in Cape Town, and when she was filming the movie, she ended up finding this actor. She started dating him. Diddy found out about it. Diddy contacted the actor and threatened him, and the actor ended up contacting Cassie like, hey, you need to call Diddy. So that relationship was easily tarnished. In 2016, she had another FO with Diddy at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles, and during that time, Diddy got extremely inebriated again, and he punched her in her eye, giving her a black eye. He ended up going to sleep, and she tried to exit the hotel quietly, but he ended up waking up, screaming at her, and he followed her down the hallway, yelling at her, and he grabbed some glass vases, and he started throwing them at her, causing the glass to crash everywhere. She then got into the elevator and tried to escape. Now, she managed to make it downstairs to the lobby, and she quickly ran out and hailed a cab. Then she started realizing this man is really going to be upset with me and things are only going to get worse. So she attempted to go back, and when she went back, the hotel staff was like, look, we saw the cameras, we saw everything that happened, get back into the cab and go ahead and leave. So she ended up leaving. They are saying that Diddy paid the hotel $50,000 just for that security footage. So it shows you money can get you a lot more than what you thought. Now, she went to go stay with one of her friends in Florida, and James Cruz, who was the president of Bad Boy Management, tracked her down and told her that her single would not come out if she did not call Diddy's phone. A woman who worked at Sony Music reached out and also gave her the same ultimatum, letting her know that her record would not come out if she did not contact Mr. Combs. He also had one of his attorneys contact her, and that lawyer told her that it was in her best interest to call Mr. Combs back. Each time she tried to run away from him, he had a powerful network of associates and friends and workers who would contact her and let her know you need to go back and force her back. Now, during this time, she's losing family members, she's losing friends. No one is really wanting to hang around her anymore because not only is he being abusive to her, but he's also kind of being abusive to her friends as well. So this is the point when she's like, you know what, enough is enough. So in September of 2018, she joined him for dinner at an Italian restaurant in Malibu, California, and this dinner was supposed to be the dinner that she discussed leaving him for good. But after dinner, Mr. Combs went to her home in Malibu, California. This is a home that he paid for. He forced himself into the apartment and tried to kiss her. She kept declining, but he pushed his way right on to being with her, and he forcibly pulled off her clothing and unbuckled her belt and proceeded to rape her. While she repeatedly saying no, she pushed him away, and he did it anyway. At this point, she couldn't do it anymore. She said she was done. She ended up moving away. She gave him back the car that he had gave her. She got her own place, but in early 2019, her home address was revealed online, and this led to her fearing for her safety, and she thought that he would be able to find her, so she was under immense duress. Now, she was finally able to get away, and she credits her children as the reason why she was able to get a new lease on life. However, during her first few months of her pregnancies, she said that she was still going through the struggles of her addiction to alcohol and drugs. Without those vices, she started to have horrific nightmares at night, thinking about the sexual acts he would get her to do, the beatings and all of that. She checked herself into an inpatient treatment at a rehabilitation center, and during that time, she was required to do intensive therapy and other medical care to recover from Mr. Combs' abuse. She is asking for a money judgment for mental pain and anguish and severe emotional distress, according to proof. She's also asking for punitive and exemplary damages, according to proof, and also her attorney fees and costs. Diddy's attorney is speaking on his behalf, and Diddy is denying it all. He said it didn't happen. He's not admitting to it. They're just going to have to go to trial, and we're going to have to see how this all works out. What I need to do is hear from you. What do you think?
This is a sick, sick nigga. So many people have come out and, tried to talk about how weird Diddy is and how sick this man is. Everybody is not lying on him. And Cassie was one of the closest people to him. So I believe her. I believe every word. This was way too detailed. She gave specific, years and incidents. I believe that this man is trifling and sick and that he did all of this to her. And she was with him for 10 years. I can only imagine the turmoil that she went through. I feel like she deserves every dime that she's suing for. And I hope she continues to expose him. I hope more people come out and start exposing him because this is just disgusting. And he was 37 when she was 19 when he first started pursuing her. What the fuck do you want with a teenager? She's 19, a teenager, when you are almost 40 years old. That's so gross. And he has so many young daughters. So it's just such a sick, weird situation. I don't trust this man. I believe it all. This is really, really fucked up. I feel for her. I hope that, she does win this lawsuit. Give her everything. This is just really gross. Like, wow. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.